everybody, welcome to Bones Collector, and I'm in the middle of shooting our videos for our top 100 games, my top 100 games, and I'm going to do something that I didn't think I would do. I'm going to do this one back to back. So I did the first 10, this is the second 10. One thing I do want to tell you about all the games that are on this top 100 list, they play great at two-player or we wouldn't have them. So if that's a question in your mind, you can erase it and feel free that if you're buying a game for two players, all of these games play great at two. So I didn't say that in the first video, but I meant to. So anyways, yeah, without further ado and further yakking, I'm going to get right into this second list on my top 100, beginning with game number 90. And game number 90 is a two-player only game from Cosmos called Targi. Now Cosmos is, they're well known for their two-player games, and this is one of their best. And we waited forever for it to get reprinted. It was reprinted in 2018. It says on the back more than 50,000 games sold, so this is pretty popular. The designer is Andreas Steiger. Like I said, two-player only. Plays in about 60 minutes. It doesn't take us that long. But here's the back of the box, and this will give you an idea about how the game works. You have a grid of 5x5 cards. And in this game, the theme of it, you're a Targi, and you're trying to form trade routes and gain resources to earn points. And the person with the most points at the end of the game wins. And the points are all on these silver cross tokens that you earn as the game goes on. But you have 3 Targis, each of you, and you place them on the outside border of this 5x5 grid. And wherever you place one of those Targis, you get to take that action, plus you have 2 tribal markers, I think they're called, and wherever those Targis of yours intersected in this grid, you place one of those tribal markers on there. So you end up taking 5 actions because you have 5 markers on cards in that grid. And there are certain restrictions that you cannot do. You cannot place a Targi where your opponent has one, or in a row where he has one. And there's also a robber. Every round he moves to a new card and keeps moving around the outside border. It just goes 1 card at a time, and then you can't use that either. So it presents quite a challenge. Once you take the action on the outside, which is where you place all your Targis on the outside border, once you take that action, you take that Targi back into your hand. And then your tribal markers are on the inside where the intersections are, and once you take that action, that card has to be taken out of the game and replaced with another one. I think there's a deck of 80 cards in here. So that's the way this game is played, and I really, really love it. We have had it for quite a while, and again, I knew I wanted this game, so it took us a while because it was hard to find for a while until they reprinted it. And it's got a little insert here where you can keep your Targis and tribal markers, and then all the tokens that with the silver crosses that you earn prestige points, the resources of pepper and salt, and there's some other stuff, dates I think are in there, and then your 80 cards that you're going to use to form the grid and to replenish it, so with the resources and stuff. So that's what's in the box, and this is a really, really fun game. Plays quickly, sets up quickly, has a small footprint, and is easy to learn. The decisions in the game are very difficult, and that's what makes it a sweet game, and that's Targi from Cosmos Games. All right, now moving on to number 89. Number 89 is a game by Marc-Andre called Splendor. Gosh, Splendor is so much fun and so quick. I know a lot of people, I know Dorado was one, he complained about the lack of theme in this game, and it never seemed to bother me. My wife loves there's an alternate kind of game similar to this called Century Spice Road. She loves the version Century Golem, and we do have that in our library also, but this is my favorite. And you know what it is, guys? This got the Golden Geek Award or something, Game of the Year. But the thing that I really, really love about this game are these tokens, these big, thick poker chips that come in the game, 6 different colors. And this is an engine builder, and you're going to use these tokens to purchase cards from the market. For instance, on that card you need 2 blue and 2 brown tokens to purchase that card, and then when you do, you get the diamond up in the upper right. You have a permanent diamond in your hand, so that in the future, if any cards need a diamond, you already got one because you have that card in your hand. And that's how it works. And then at the top of the grid of cards, the market of cards, are going to be these noble tiles, and when you can fulfill those, you get the points that are on them. First person to 15 points in this game wins the game. I love games that end like that. There's no bonus cards, there's nothing to figure out with a pencil. When you hit 15, you've won. So you do that by purchasing cards with points on them and getting these noble tiles from the top of the market grid. And that's all there is to Splendor. That's it. And it's a super fun game, obviously, or I wouldn't keep it. And I just keep wondering why everybody doesn't have this in their library. It says it plays in 30 minutes. That's pretty accurate. 2 to 4 players, 10 and up, and gosh, I just love this game. It's Splendor. All right, now I'm on game number 88. Okay, game number 88 is a game by Hisashi Hayashi called Yokohama. Taste Your Minstrel Games, and Taste Your Minstrel Games does a lot of games in my library, and they continually turn out games of medium complexity that are so enjoyable to play that it seems to hit our sweet spot. So we really enjoy that. And in Yokohama, it's no exception. Yokohama is a bustling city during the Meiji era or whatever, that you're trying to build it up. It became the major trading hub in Japan anyways, Yokohama, and that's what you're doing. You're trying to build up a trading route. You're trading with other countries, and you're doing all you can to get prestige points or fame. I think it might be fame, to become the most famous trader in Yokohama. And this is what's in the box. And this is Yokohama Deluxeified, by the way. But Taste Your Minstrel Games, it's been my experience that even in their regular edition games, they're magnificent. The production's very good. I don't know, I was in a game store and they had this on the counter for sale, and I went ahead and grabbed it. I knew very little about it, but I grabbed it and brought it home, went through it and played it, and we really enjoyed it. It's a modular board, so you're going to lay out all these tiles on the board, and you have presidents and assistants that you're going to move around that modular board and take the actions that are on those spaces. And there are certain restrictions to how you can move and how many spaces you can go, and whether you can't move through spaces with other presidents on them, for instance. And then you're going to place buildings on the board, trade houses on the board that count for assistance, so that action will be more beneficial to you. And there's cards at the top of the board that you're going to complete contracts with other countries to give you more fame. And man, I tell you, there's a lot in this box. And it's pretty cool game. But yeah, got metal money. I mean, if you can find the Deluxeified version, but that's the way this one is. And like I say, I'm sure the regular version is fantastic from Taste Your Minstrel, because I have many of their games in regular format, and they're fantastic. I have no complaints about anything they do when it comes to their production quality. But yeah, Yokohama's a fun game in kind of the vein of Istanbul, if you like that game, the way that moves around. But if you like Istanbul, you'll like Yokohama. Now, I know we do, and we've had it for quite a while, and it's a game that I enjoy playing. It takes a little bit of time. It probably takes a full, I don't know, hour 15, hour and a half. So 90 minutes probably sometimes. And so it's a little bit longer, but very much worth the time and lots of fun, like I say. And the player with the most prestige points at the end of the game wins. And I'm going to put that together later because it isn't right. I don't think. And that is what the board looks like when you have it all set up. And you're simply going to be moving your president and assistants around this board, placing trade houses on the modular board, again, completing contracts to get as much prestige points as you can and win the game and become the most famous trader in Yokohama. It's a great game from Taste Your Minstrel, and it was my number 88. All right, let's move on to number 87. That would be Reiner Knizia's Quest for El Dorado. That's the front of the box. And that is the back of the box. And you can see that it's a modular board, and this is a deck builder game. So you're going to have a market of cards that you're going to try to acquire to make your deck more powerful, give you more movement to try to get to El Dorado. And there's cards that are available at the beginning of the game, and as those decks deplete from availability, you can move newer cards down into the market, some that are more powerful, and you can add them to your deck that really boost your ability to move. So you have to play those cards in order to move through different terrains on the board. And again, this game is by Reiner Knizia, and of course he's made so many good board games. If you're into board gaming at all, you know his name, and he still has made the best Lord of the Rings game available, one he did in 2001, and we really enjoy the Quest for El Dorado, and I think it came out in 2017. Ravensburger Games, and so enjoyable, plays fast, and every time we've played it, whoever wins, the other player is one turn away from winning themselves. So it's super close, which we really like. You really have to plan on how you're using your cards in your deck and which ones to purchase in order to make your deck work the best for you. So yeah, I love this little deck builder. It's a lot of fun. Quest for El Dorado. I think there's an expansion that just came out for it or something. For us, it's not necessary because we have such a large library of games. We certainly don't want this to be any longer than it already is, and usually expansions do that. So I'm on number 86, and that 86, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the oldest games around, Carcassonne. When we first started getting into modern board gaming, we picked up a copy of Carcassonne and enjoyed it, and I think I like it more than Lori. It's a tile laying game, but it hasn't worn out its welcome for me. In this box we have quite a few expansions that we like to play. Big Top, I think, the Abbey, and we have the Traders, and this draw bag for tiles came in Traders and Builders or something like that, expansion, so it did not come in the base game. And then we have a mini expansion that you actually add to the scoreboard. So you have something going on the scoreboard in addition to the tiling aspect of the game. And it's area control. You're putting down your meeples in certain areas to score the most points. By the end of the game, you get points for those areas. So it's an area control tile laying game. We have absolutely loved it for the time that we've had it, and I wouldn't get rid of it. I really enjoy it. I know a lot of people, a lot of gamers are always into what's new, and sometimes you gotta kind of respect and give some admiration and love to the things that were good before, because they're probably still good and probably in a lot of ways better than things they're making today. So you got to be careful that you don't skip over something like Carcassonne, and because after repeated plays, I still am not tired of it, and I enjoy it. Carcassonne by Klaus-Jürgen Reddy, I think he's German, and published by Z-Man Games. Plays 2 to 5 in 35 minutes, 7 and up. I mean, anybody can play this game, and I really love it. So that's Carcassonne. Number 85 is a game called Praetor. Now, in Praetor, you're trying to become the greatest praetor appointed by Caesar, and this is the back of the box, what it looks like, and I'll go through the contents in a second. But in Praetor, and it has a 2-player variant, so it adjusts for 2 players, which I love when games do that. And you're going to have a market of tiles, very limited. I think you only have a selection of 3 that you're going to be able to purchase with your workers and build in the city. And then both players use those city tiles that have been built. You can use the benefit for those, both of you. So that's pretty cool. You're both building the same city. Now in Praetor, and the designer is Andre Novak. But let's get that out of the way. And it uses a mechanic in it that everyone raves about in Teotihuacan. If you've played Teotihuacan, the workers are dice, and the same in Praetor. The workers are dice. So each player has a certain color of dice, and you use those dice and their values on them to obtain benefits from the tiles that have already been built in the city. So if you put a 2-value die on one of those city tiles, you get the benefit times 2. If you put a 3 on there, you get the benefit times 3, and so on. Now when you take those workers back, you have to age them. So if you use a number 2, when you take it back, you have to age it to number 3. And if you take a number 4 back, you have to age it to 5, and so forth. And the reason why that's important is once they get to 6, you have to retire them and leave them on your player board. And these tiles in this game are beautiful, by the way. But you leave them on your player board, And the reason why you do that is because you have to pay them. This is your player board, and all your workers that you use at the end of the round, you got to pay them. If you don't have the money to pay them, you have a marker on here, and this is morale, I think. And the morale is going to go down. You're going to lose points at the end of the game if have your morale way down. But the workers, once they're retired, you even have to pay them when they're retired. So you have to be careful. You don't retire too many guys. You get points for them at the end of the game, but you have to pay them every round to be retired. Kind of like today's society, right? So yeah, so that's pretty interesting and pretty cool. I like this game a lot. You get beautiful dice, super thick, heavy tiles that are gorgeous. The art on them is wonderful, and so you're really getting a lot for your money. But we got this game, picked it up for $10 at a board game flea market at a convention. And that's why I tell you guys, find out where your local board game conventions are, and you can usually get these wonderful games. I knew I wanted Praetor. I knew it was a very good game. That's from NSK, by the way, NSKN Games. And I knew I wanted it, and when I found this guy selling it for $10, I picked it up. We came home, played it, and I was correct. It's a wonderful game, and I'm putting the lid on wrong, which we do at my house. And I'm going to continue to enjoy Praetor for many, many years. So that's Praetor number 85. So we're on number 84. Number 84 is a game from Days of Wonder, and you're going to see Days of Wonder represented throughout my top 100. And this is by Bruno Cathala and Mark Paquin. So Bruno Cathala, another name that pops up often in the board gaming design industry. He's got a great reputation, so whenever I hear about him developing a game, I'm interested. Doesn't mean all his games are going to be great, but it does mean that I should look into them because I love so many of his games, Bruno Cathala. So Yamatai, and there's the back of the board. In Yamatai, the Queen has asked for everyone to build Yamatai into one of the best cities in the world, and you're going to place ships and build routes through the islands to doing several different things. You're going to collect culture tokens maybe to trade in for specialists that'll give you benefits during the game that will help you do more and more, kind of like a little bit of an engine builder. And then you also can get points for building buildings on these islands. And there's quite a few different types of buildings that you can build. So that's what Yamatai looks like on the back. Days of Wonder, again, does real nice production on their games. This is your player mat, and this is really helpful. You know, each player is a different character, and it tells you what 5 things you get to do on your turn. Okay, so the player mat, very helpful. And then this is the board. Not small, but it's not overly large. So that's the board. And this is the insert with all the components for the game. And it's a very nice insert. It works very well. These are some of the buildings that you're going to build. These are the action selection tiles that you're going to choose first. That's the first thing you do, is you have a selection meeple that you're going to choose one of these to that action to take, and they rotate around, so you get a chance if it's your turn and the opponent has used that action tile that you want so badly to get a gold ship or something, you have to wait until the next round or the round after that, because they rotate around, but it'll come back to you and you'll have another chance to get at that. So yeah, so that's the way that works. And these are some of the beautiful specialist tiles that are in the game. And these are the points, the prestige points. The person with the most prestige points at the end of the game wins. And that's some of the prestige points you get for these specialists. And they give you special powers. This one adds you, you're allowed to keep a ship, one ship on your player mat to the next round. And this would allow you to keep 3, +2. So you get 1 on your player mat. This says +2, so you can keep 3 ships. That's pretty handy. And it's worth 3 points at the end of the game too, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, so Yamatai, very, very cool game. These are money tokens that come with the game, and yeah, bags of wooden buildings and goodies that you get to use. There's your prestige points, they're on shells, so that's pretty cool. And we have, I don't know how long we've had this. I think we picked this game up also at a flea market. Didn't we? I think we picked it up at a flea market at one of the conventions. It's the best way to get games, you guys, because this can be an expensive hobby, board gaming, if you're not careful. And so if you're patient and you look up and see where board gaming conventions are in your area, hey, you can usually get to their flea markets and pick up games at a very inexpensive price. Games that somebody maybe either didn't fit their personality or that they are tired of or whatever, and you can get them in brand new condition for, you know, a fraction of the price. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, that's Yamatai. I'm on number 83. Number 83 is a game called Dixit. Dixit, it was designed by Jean-Louis Rubira, and the art was Marie Cardot. I don't know how to say her name, but that's very important that I name the artist, because in Dixit, art is very important. And we play this game, we love to play this game with people who don't board game. Our grandkids love to play this game. We play it with them all the time. And it says 3 to 6 players, 8 and up, 30 minutes. So I think it's the only game in our library that has to have 3 players. And we keep it because, again, our grandkids love to play it. And when we have people over that are new to board gaming, this is something they can comprehend and pick up very quickly. And we can teach it very quickly. And everybody has a lot of fun. Every time I've played this game, it's just everyone's laughing and having a good time. It's just that type of game. And it's, again, very, very popular. And in it, let's see, this is the scoreboard. And everybody is a bunny, different color rabbit on here, and we start there. And you're simply going to have a hand of cards. I think you get 6 cards in your hand, maybe 5. And then you have to name a theme or a word. You have to say a word that is going to relate to this card, whatever card you want to play. It's like the word scared. So maybe you say the word scared and you're going to play this card. Okay? Everybody else will go through their hand and they will look and see if they have a card that would make someone think of the word scared. Because you want some people to figure out that this is your card, but you don't want everybody to figure out this card. So in this case, in a word like scared, you're kind of hoping that someone else has a horrific looking card that they will play and people will think that that is your card. Maybe that cat. He looks kind of scared. So maybe that would be one that that one of the other players would play, and then it would draw the attention away from your card, scared. And all they have to do is you only have to fool one person, and then you get the max points. So it's a game of deception, kind of, and you're trying to think of a word that would make sense for your card, but not too much sense. You don't want to be too obvious, because if everybody guesses your card, you don't get any points. And that happens, but you don't want to be obvious. And so it's a lot of fun for especially kids. Kids love this game. Our youngest grandson is 8 and he loves to play this game. And whenever they come over, and this is one of their favorite games, they always ask to play Dixit. And we have a couple of expansions for this game, I think, and the art on the cards is so beautiful and so evocative. I mean, it's just an incredible collection of pictures and that you get to look at while you play this game. Just incredible stuff. I mean, just the art is amazing, and gosh, I just can't say enough about it. And every time, it isn't really my type of game. When I first heard about it, I didn't think I would like it, but the more I play it, the more I love it. And now, whenever somebody wants to play Dixit, I'm ready. I'm ready to play it. I'm not the most creative when it comes to that kind of thing, but I really, really love playing this game. And that's why it's on my list of top 100 games. Dixit. We love playing it. We have had this game for quite a while. And again, my grandkids always ask to play it. And whenever we have people, new gamers over, we get this game out, and everybody has a good laugh. What's it say on the front? Over 1.5 million games sold. So I'm not the only one that loves Dixit, but that's Dixit number 83. Number 82. This will be the only dungeon crawly type of game on my top 100, mainly because I don't really care for those kinds of games usually. There's too many steps in a dungeon crawl game. I mean, usually. They're just too, and let's use Gloomhaven for an instance. There's so many little intricate things you have to do in order to make any progress in those games, and they take forever, and I just don't care for them. Clank is a lighter version of a dungeon crawl game. It's a deck builder on top of it, which we really, really love. You start out with a hand of cards, a certain hand of cards, then you're getting cards to the market to make your hand better, and you use your cards to defeat monsters, or not monsters, or different opponents that you're going to come across in the caverns in the game, because you're going underground. And it's the picture on the back, I'll show it to you, but it doesn't really show that much. It's by Renegade Games. Plays 2 to 4, 60 minutes, 13 and up, and I don't even really have the designer's name on them. Oh yeah, a game by Paul Denon. Got my cheater notes I told you about in the last video, scoring sheet that we laminated, the rule book, and this is the board, and this is the insert. And there's the deck of cards. Some wonderful art on these cards. Nothing gory or gross about it, and I like that. And this is the draw bag for the Clank tokens that you're going to be drawing out. When you disturb the dragon, he's going to come out and he's going to attack you. And that's what the Clank is. Each player has their own color of tokens. Those are treasure tokens. We got some money in here. And there's the dragon itself. Turn it around. Yeah, I love this insert. That's why I had picked up a couple of expansions and later played them and sold them, because I just like the base game the way it is, just like this. And I get a little wooden black dragon there, and that's pretty cool. And then here's the board. I'm going to unfold it because the board is pretty nice. I really like it, and it's double-sided. So you can play 2 different games, but you're simply going to start up here and go down into the caverns here under the castle and retrieve treasure tokens worth victory points, and you have to get down in here and get those treasure tokens and get out without the dragon taking all your life away, or with the first person out gets bonus points. And so you have to pay attention to the other players, and if one of them feel like, well, I've got enough treasure tokens, I'm getting out of here. So they'll try to get out of there, and the first one out triggers the end of the game. If you're above ground, I think the people come and rescue you out of the caverns. Even though you won't get the bonus points for getting out, you won't die. But I think if you get stuck way down in here, it's a possibility you may die. I forget how it works. But yeah, so it's a very light-hearted dungeon crawl game. And over here is the Clank track. You put your Clank tokens up in there. Yeah, I guess that's about all I want to say about that. You have to follow this white track when you're moving through the caverns, and if you see the steps, it takes you 2 more steps to get to the next section. If you see these monsters here, I think you have to have like military cards or something that help you get past those in your deck. So yeah, that's Clank. Let's look at some of the cards, I guess. Take a second. A goblin is a common card, I believe, the monster. Then you have cards that you can purchase to build in your deck. Mercenaries, explore, and where you see a picture of a boot. This is probably irrelevant. That means how many steps you can take. On this card, it tells you how much the card costs. And in some cases, you have victory points. I hope you guys can see that. You have victory points in the upper right, and then how many steps you can take, and skill level, so that when you go to purchase in the blue diamond, that's the skill level of the card. When you go to make a purchase in the market, that's what you use for your money. So yeah, so it's a deck building game that we really enjoy, a dungeon crawling deck building game, one of the few that we actually enjoy playing. And Clank, I think it came out in oh gosh, I can't even remember. It had to be like 2016 or so. I think it came out in 2016, but yeah. And we got one more game, and it's going to be game number 81, and that, folks, is a game by Phil Walker Harding called Gizmos. And you heard me talk about Phil when we did Cacao, which was in the last video. This game is for 2 to 4 players. 14 and up, I don't think you have to be that old. This is a pretty easy game. 40 to 50 minutes by Come On Games. That's how you say it. And in Gizmos, it's an engine building game. You have a bunch of marbles that are in a dispenser that have a row that comes out of the dispenser, and you're going to select marbles from that row initially to make purchases of cards from the market and build your engine underneath this little banner. And as you go along, you're going to have cards that give you more benefits that take marbles out of the dispenser itself in addition to the row that comes out of the dispenser. And you only are allowed so many marbles in the beginning of the game, and then you can build on that as you go. But this is what's in the box. Oh gosh, it's a mess. And this is the cardboard dispenser, and you have some sides that you put on it, and it holds the marbles. It's pretty sturdy. It works pretty well in this game. We have another game coming up that I'll tell you about that didn't work well, but in this one's pretty sturdy, works pretty well. We haven't had any problems with it. You get a big bag of marbles and a whole bunch of cards of different levels. You got different cards with this type of art on, all iconography. There's no text on them whatsoever, and it'll tell you exactly what you're going to do with this card and the benefit that it gives you. And you have certain areas that you're going to lay under this banner depending on the card that you bought. And for instance, this is a card that is called a builder, and when you build a yellow building, you can pick a marble out of the dispenser. And that's picking a marble out of the dispenser. This one, when you build a black building, you get a victory point. And once you build these cards down below your banner that I showed you, then they just keep triggering. Every time you do something, it just keeps triggering on and on and on. And I think once somebody builds 16 or 17 cards, the game is over, and that triggers the end of the game, and then you get all the points that you've collected from your cards and that are on the cards, because some of the cards have victory points, like this one's worth 3 victory points. And there's different levels. The ones that are more expensive have more victory points on them. So it's a slick engine builder, and it goes very quickly. And we've had this game for quite a while, and I really still enjoy playing it. It's a game by Phil Walker Harding, and he's becoming a board game designer, certainly to check out if you hear about him coming out with a game, because we have several, and there's going to be another one that's going to appear later on in this top 100, because he has some great games. So that is Gizmos, and that's the last game of the day. And I hope you had fun watching this video. A game by Phil Walker Harding. The box is real nice. I mean, this is a wonderful game. Marbles are beautiful, the energy marbles, and this game's a lot of fun. Goes quickly if you like engine builders. Guys, it was fun doing this video for you today. That's my second 10, so that's 20 games of the top 100, and I'm getting hoarse and tired, so that's going to be it for today. Please make sure you like and subscribe. I love every one of you. Keep on board gaming. It's the best hobby on the planet. I'll see you next time on the next 10 games for the top 100 on the Bones Collector. Bye-bye.